Welcome to Dr.Medics. We are going to learn about basics of the anatomy. Basics: anatomical terminology, anatomical regions, human body system, musculoskeletal system, major artery, veins and nerves. Anatomical terminology consists of directional term, which directs the body, planes of the body and body cavities. Directional terms: superior, inferior, anterior, posterior, medial, lateral, proximal and distal. Superior is otherwise known as cranial. This is towards head or upper part of the body. Inferior is otherwise known as caudal. This is towards the foot or lower part of the body. Don't worry, we are going to see this in next slide detailed with the pictures. So don't be confused. Anterior is otherwise known as ventral, is front, posterior is dorsal, is back. Medial is towards the midline of the body, lateral is away from the midline of the body. Proximal is towards or the nearest of the trunk or origin or part. Distal away from the trunk or origin or the parts. See, superior. Superior is otherwise known as cranial. Inferior is otherwise known as caudal. Superior is towards the head and inferior is towards the foot. Anterior is front and posterior is back. This vertical line is midline. So, towards this midline, whatever the body parts is present, it's mentioned as medial. Away from the midline, it's lateral. Proximal is towards or the nearest part of the trunk or the origin. Distal is away from the trunk or the part or the origin. Planes of the body. There are three planes. First, we are going to learn about coronal plane. This is otherwise known as frontal plane. This plane is vertical. This plane is vertical plane which goes from side to side and divides the body parts into anterior and posterior, that is front and back, which is behind this. The second plane is sagittal plane. This is also known as lateral plane. This is vertical plane from front and back. So this divides the body or parts into right and left. Next, transverse plane. This is also known as axial plane. This plane is horizontal plane, divides the body or parts into upper and lower. Next, body cavities. This is the cavity or space of the body which contains internal organs. This has two main cavities, ventral and dorsal. The ventral is again subdivided into thoracic cavity, abdominal cavity. Dorsal is cranial and vertebral. Ventral cavity. This is the large cavity, contains thoracic and abdominal cavity, which is separated by diaphragm. Diaphragm is a muscle. Thoracic cavity is the upper ventral thoracic or chest cavity. Thorax is also known as chest. This cavity contains heart, lungs, trachea, esophagus, large blood vessels, nerves, ribs, pleura, diaphragm, and also other organs and muscles. Abdominal cavity. Lower part of the ventral cavity, divided into abdominal portion and pelvic portion. Abdominal portion contains gastrointestinal organs and pelvic portion contains pelvic organs. Dorsal cavity. This is the small cavity. This contains cranial and vertebral. Cranial contains brain and vertebra contains spinal cord. These are the anatomical terminologies. These are the very basics of the anatomy, and remaining anatomical basics will be seen in the next video.